Well, hey everybody, this is Steve at 1000 Year Home. So the temperature is no longer in the triple digits, so I'm not in the hundreds. It's 93 today, which feels like a cold front. So it was supposed to rain, and I kicked over a nest of fire ants, and they had some winged females in there and males, and so it felt possible, but an hour ago was the peak time for rain, and nary a drop fell. So I'm going to stop working inside the container. Even though it's 93, it's still a little too hot in there. And I have another project I'm going to work on. All right, all of this cardboard at one point in time I was putting underneath the connexes to kill the grass so that I could put in a floor, earth bag floor in the connexes. And it's beginning to look a little junky. So what I want to do while I have an overcast sky, and you can't maybe see it in the video so well, but starting with this stump and running out through those mesquites, there's a little swale, a natural swale that's built up a little higher. And so what I'm going to do is take the old mesquite that I find around the property and drop some post in, and I'm going to raise this up and start my garden. Now, I had a garden out here, and Mother Nature killed it. But gardeners are not stopped by such a thing as lack of rain and million-degree temperatures. So I'm going to take a break from working on the house with the faith that I could put in this garden. In addition, it'll clean up all of the cardboard that I got. I don't want it to blow all over the place. And I'll put that cardboard down. I'll kill that mahea grass underneath there and weeds. And then I'll put... as I dig my pits for the earth bags, I'll take that topsoil, if you want to call it that. I'll take the Texas topsoil and do that. So I got a couple of things I'm going to do. I apologize for my handshaking there. That's something that I've been working on, and doctors still don't know, but I'm stuck with it. So are you. All right. So I dropped my camera while I was cutting out some of the windows, and so I'm going to set it up for stop motion today. And I worked on it, cleaned all the lenses, got the motion working on it. But I see the focus is going in and out. So I'm going to set up a stop motion while I do this and see how bad it is. And then once I start doing this thing, I'll go around and find there's around the fence line, there's been piles of mesquite pushed up. So I'm going to fetch those mesquite. And I don't care if they decay. I have learned in Texas that if I put wood down underneath earth, then I can grow a garden over the top of it. So I still have faith I can grow a garden, and I've done it, but I've never done it in this Spartan of a heat. So I got to charge my batteries. I got to get things set up. So let me hit you a pause, and I'll charge some batteries. Got my 40 volts charging. This is for my cell phone. This little charging station's been doing pretty good. Almost always 100% on this Jackery. I've got two 100-watt panels up on the roof. There's the heat goes, or the in goes. And so now that it's drawing, you'll eventually see that there'll be some watts coming in from the solar. If it was low, there would have been 50, 100, whatever I'd be getting. I've got the 40 volt, one of those all the way charged. All right. That's what I use for the auger that I'm going to use for the post. So put another one in there. We'll see if I can drop that camera again. I really don't want to buy a new camera. I love this camera, and it's getting old, and I thought, it's an old camera, and yada yada yada. People won't be using it, but it's still a $1,000 camera online. So let's see. I don't see anything charging at all there on that one. Let me see if it's already at 100. Ooh, already at 100. All right, let me set up the cameras and actually do some.
All right, well, there's my stop motion working then. So it's amazing that I can put an hour down into 30 seconds. So hot. Oh my gosh, this is so hot. So this is working out. You could see that I'm getting the cardboard all cleaned up. I'm getting that mesquite wall put up. I'm really excited about the camera. Looks like it's holding focus and it didn't overheat and shut down.
Okay, look how dry this soil is. I'm gonna put a hole in the ground here.
Doesn't really matter where. It's just dust. Even if I went 2.5 feet down, it's just powder. I'm hitting a tree root or something there. You can just see that there's no moisture left at all in the soil here. Yeah, this drought is really something, isn't it? You saw how dry that is. Hopefully I had a focus. It's so bright I can hardly see my screen. I look like it's midnight to me on the screen. Saying the temperature's getting too hot on the phone. I gotta turn it off. All right, I finished my log work while the phone cooled off and the AC. The phone quit before me. That's ridiculous. Anyway, overheated. The other camera, I'll swivel around. That one's overheating too. So I'm done, but listen, I'm done. So now you can get the vibe of this thing. So these mesquite are dirty and they drop limbs all the time. Not all of them can I turn into anything. And they got a little too many thorns in them for me to want to try to mulch them into a living drive. So what I did was gathered up all of the cardboard that I was using underneath the containers to kill grass. And this little sliver of ground is actually already in the shape of a quarter moon. So I thought that is incredibly serendipitous. So I'm going to drop and bring in mesquite limbs. Wrap this thing all the way around, and next year there'll be peppers and oh my gosh, and tomatoes, and because I'm working on the water. Let me show you mesquite limbs. Now these are mesquite limbs, all right? And when you prune it, it tells it's an invitation for it to become something again. And so it drops these limbs that I need to get out of the brush so I can mow. And also they encroach on the meadows. You see how it's way in there, and then it runs these runners along the ground, pops out and crushes it. So that one's a moon. This area is good. I'm going to make it a sun, and I'll probably make them little radial arms so I can fit all the way in. And then here, these two, there's my adobe brick that I made that just exploded, still exploding. So this will be an entrance, and I'll make a little cedar arch here. I've already set some of the wood aside for it. And you walk down through this. I'll have gardens on both sides. And then look, I got a little hidden spot where I'm going to hang a swing. So you can see that I got a little hidden spot, and that mesquite's tangled in that cedar, so I'm not too worried about putting a little lightweight on it. But now I can sit here in the shade and look at my garden. All right, like and subscribe. I should be working every minute of every day inside of my container to get myself moved in, but the gardener in me can't help himself. I had to do a little something, and I'm in the middle of a drought. This is ridiculous of me. But kicked off for two reasons. The neighbors that have been here for hundreds of years have asked to lease my hay field, and the hay's just so burned up that you can't cut hay in it anymore. It can only be good for grazing. So I said, sure, come on over. They'll have to fix up the fence a little bit. So I wanted to clean up that area so it's presentable for my neighbors. And then I've also, let me rotate the camera, also went and got my gray water storage system. So that one I'm going to use to make concrete and all my mud and whatnot, because it's not a clean one. It's a coil lube, which was used for cutting in wells. I'm not too worried about it once I use it for concrete and making bricks and whatnot. It'll be cleaned up well enough for it to be gray water tank. Nobody will ever drink out of it. And I'll store my gray water tank right here where the second phase gray water tank. Right here where this pyramid is, I'll build a little raised old style water tank, and I'll wrap it in cedar, and it'll just look amazing. But behind it will be that, and that'll be the entrance. And then whenever I want to water everything, I'll just crack that valve and let the gray water
go ahead and water all my plants and all my dead trees. So 300 trees I planted this year, and every one of them gave a start, and every one of them's down to this, just twigs. I'm holding on that some of them down in the bottom of the ground are okay, but I don't know why I'm thinking of green things instead of working in that container. But I'm a man who likes a lot of change. And so I guess that's why I'm out here gardening in the sun. Hey, I wore out this camera. I wore out my other camera. Oh, I should get it before the Texas sun melts it. And I'm going to make a video on this, whether or not this camera did a good job. But that way I'll know to buy a new one or not. Because it's fallen on the ground twice out here. Once got all full of sugar sand, and that's no good, no bueno. All right, this is Steve at 1,000 Year Homes. In this case, I'm making a seasonal garden, long way from 1,000 years. But if somebody lives here 1,000 years from now, they might still be gardening in that spot. They amend the soil. So like and subscribe. I've got a lot of creative ideas, and I'm lonely out here in the middle of Texas, and I want people to at least let me know I'm alive. So like and subscribe and follow along.